A multitude of significant events have unfolded across the globe, and it is imperative we examine them closely. What if the reality you perceived was abruptly vanishing right before your very eyes? No, we are not discussing an end-of-the-world scenario. We are talking about nations abandoning the United States in favor of BRICS. Sounds outlandish, correct? But consider this. This phenomenon is unfolding in 2025, and it is fundamentally altering the global power structure. You might assume countries would never forsake their ties with the US. But as international frictions escalate and worldwide power dynamics shift, an increasing number of nations are aligning with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Why is this happening? And what ramifications does this hold for America? Stay engaged, because the rationales behind some of these nations' decisions will leave you utterly astounded. We will delve into the 10 countries projected to leave the U.S. sphere of influence for BRICS by 2025. Remember to watch until the very end, as we will provide concluding thoughts and analysis on these major global changes. Also, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support is crucial for our growth and helps us bring you more content like this. Let us know in the comments where you are tuning in from. We love hearing from our global audience. Please understand that video thumbnails are created to attract attention and may not always reflect the actual content. They are creative representations designed to engage viewers. We appreciate your understanding and hope you enjoy the video. While we strive to provide accurate and valuable information, this video is intended for reference and educational purposes only. The content reflects a collection of viewpoints and insights, selectively gathered from articles, social media posts, public forums, news sites, and online discussions. We do not claim absolute accuracy, nor is this video intended as an official or authoritative source. Viewers are encouraged to conduct their own research, compare information from multiple trusted sources, and approach all online content, including this one, with a critical and discerning mindset. This video does not intend to target or discredit any individual, organization, or nation. Its purpose is not to determine what is definitively right or wrong, but to encourage thoughtful reflection and highlight lessons we can learn from current events. Please watch with an open mind, reflect thoughtfully, and thank you for being part of this journey with us. Number 10. Saudi Arabia. You might think that Saudi Arabia would perpetually remain a close ally of the US, especially given their decades-long partnership founded on oil and security arrangements. But guess what? Saudi Arabia is discreetly redirecting its focus, and it revolves entirely around aligning with China and Russia under the expanding influence of the BRICS collective. Why this shift? The ascent of China as a global economic juggernaut has prompted Saudi Arabia to reconsider its reliance on American support. With prospective energy agreements, economic cooperation initiatives, and new trade corridors appearing on the horizon, they are actively exploring avenues to diversify their international partnerships. You would be astonished to discover that this major oil-producing nation is now distancing itself from Washington's sphere of influence. How will this impact the global energy market dynamics? Stick around as we delve deeper into how this dramatic transformation is reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. This move signifies a substantial recalibration of Saudi foreign policy, driven by a pragmatic assessment of the evolving global order and a desire to maximize its strategic options in a multipolar world. The kingdom recognizes that overdependence on a single superpower carries inherent risks, and diversifying its partnerships provides greater flexibility and resilience against external pressures or policy shifts from Washington. Furthermore, China represents an enormous and growing market for Saudi oil exports, making closer economic ties a logical step. The Belt and Road Initiative also presents significant infrastructure investment opportunities for the kingdom, as it seeks to modernize and diversify its own economy beyond hydrocarbons through initiatives like Vision 2030. This alignment isn't merely economic, it extends to geopolitical considerations. Cooperating with Russia within the OPEC+ framework has already demonstrated the potential benefits of coordinating energy policies outside the traditional Western-dominated structures. Joining BRICS, or strengthening ties with its members, offers Saudi Arabia a platform to increase its influence among non-Western powers and counterbalance U.S. dominance in the region. The implications for the United States are considerable, potentially weakening its leverage in the Middle East and challenging the long-standing petrodollar system if Saudi Arabia begins trading oil in other currencies. The changing dynamics could also affect regional security architectures, requiring Washington to adapt its strategies to maintain stability and protect its interests amidst these shifting allegiances. This strategic pivot by a key historical ally underscores the profound changes underway in international relations. Number 9. Iran. You won't believe this, but Iran has been progressively distancing itself from the U.S. for years, and 2025 could mark the year it formally joins the BRICS bloc. After enduring a relentless barrage of U.S. sanctions, Iran has actively sought methods to circumvent the economic stranglehold Washington maintains over its financial system. And what superior strategy exists than aligning with BRICS? The genuine shocker? Iran has already formalized economic pacts with both Russia and China, and it is vigorously pursuing stronger connections with Brazil and India. But guess what? This strategic maneuver extends beyond mere economics. It is fundamentally about reasserting national independence and constructing a more robust defense alliance network outside the sphere of U.S. influence. You might be contemplating, Iran, truly? But their ambition to join BRICS signals a massive geopolitical realignment. What does this imply for global security structures? Let us break it down further. Iran's motivation stems from decades of adversarial relations with the United States, punctuated by severe economic sanctions primarily targeting its nuclear program and regional activities. These sanctions have crippled Iran's economy, limiting its access to international markets and financial systems. Joining BRICS offers a potential lifeline, providing access to alternative trade networks, financial mechanisms like the New Development Bank, and the possibility of conducting transactions in currencies other than the US dollar, thereby mitigating the impact of sanctions. Collaborations with Russia and China are particularly significant. Russia shares Iran's strategic interest in challenging U.S. influence in the Middle East and provides military and technological support. China, as a major consumer of Iranian oil and a significant investor, offers crucial economic partnership. Forging stronger ties with India and Brazil further broadens Iran's diplomatic and economic options, reducing its international isolation. This move is not without complexities. Internal political dynamics within Iran, potential disagreements among BRICS members regarding Iran's inclusion, and the ongoing nuclear negotiations all play a role. However, the overarching trend is clear. Iran views BRICS as a vehicle to enhance its sovereignty, bolster its economy against Western pressure, and strengthen its position in a shifting global order. The implications for global security are profound, potentially altering regional power balances, impacting energy markets, and creating new challenges for U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East and beyond. Before we proceed, ensure you hit that subscribe button. We are bringing you more explosive insights on global shifts. Stay tuned to keep up with the ever-changing world. Ready for another jaw-dropper? Let's dive into the next country, Turkey, that's making waves in this geopolitical shift. Stay tuned. Number 8. Turkey. Imagine discovering that one of your longest-standing allies is no longer firmly in your camp. Turkey, a NATO member and a protracted partner of the U.S., is executing a startling pivot towards the BRICS nations. But guess what? This transition is not solely driven by political disagreements. It is deeply rooted in Turkey's strengthening relationships with Russia and China, particularly following years of mounting frustration with American policies. You won't believe it, but Turkey has already been making strategic adjustments for years. While the U.S. has voiced criticism regarding Turkey's military dealings with Russia, especially concerning the S-400 missile defense systems, Turkey is forging stronger economic bonds with China and Russia. And guess what? It is not halting there. Turkey's emphasis on energy independence, major infrastructure projects, and expanding trade with BRICS countries is causing significant ripples. But here is the real kicker. Turkey is not just realigning its alliances. It is actively seeking a more influential role in the global economy. They are eyeing the BRICS group to diversify their markets, particularly through China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. This strategic move could completely alter the balance of power in the region. What does this signify for U.S. influence in Europe and the Middle East? Stick around to find out how Turkey's maneuver could potentially rock the boat. Turkey's complex geopolitical position, straddling Europe and Asia, has always necessitated a careful balancing act. However, recent years have seen a marked strain in relations with the U.S. and the EU over issues ranging from differing stances on Syria and the Eastern Mediterranean to concerns about democratic backsliding within Turkey. Simultaneously, Turkey has found common ground with Russia on certain regional issues, despite historical rivalries, and has seen China become an increasingly important economic partner. The acquisition of the Russian S-400 system, despite strong U.S. objections and subsequent sanctions, highlighted Turkey's willingness to pursue a more independent foreign policy trajectory. Economically, Turkey seeks to reduce its dependence on Western markets and financial institutions, particularly after experiencing currency crises. BRICS offers alternative avenues for trade, investment, and potentially currency arrangements that could bolster its economic resilience. China's Belt and Road Initiative aligns well with Turkey's ambition to become a major Eurasian transit hub. Culturally and politically, President Erdogan's government has often emphasized Turkey's unique identity, distinct from the West, finding resonance with the multipolar vision promoted by BRICS nations. Joining or closely aligning with BRICS could amplify Turkey's regional influence and provide a counterweight to perceived Western pressures. This pivot carries significant implications, potentially weakening NATO's southern flank and complicating U.S. and European strategies in the Black Sea region, the Middle East, and the Eastern Mediterranean. It represents a fundamental shift by a key strategic nation, reflecting broader global trends towards multipolarity. Number 7. Argentina. Hold up. Did you ever imagine that Argentina could potentially ditch the U.S. for BRICS? Well, guess what? That is precisely what appears to be happening in 2025. It is challenging to conceive of Argentina, with its profound economic connections to the West, suddenly aligning forces with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But it is indeed occurring, and it possesses the potential to reshape the entire South American continent. You won't believe this, but Argentina's economy has been grappling for years, burdened by the weight of inflation, substantial debt, and a persistent lack of stability. Consequently, they have been actively searching for new international partners to help invigorate their financial future. Enter BRICS. With China already deeply invested in Argentina's infrastructure development and trade sectors, Argentina is now leaning heavily towards BRICS for enhanced economic cooperation, especially concerning energy resources, trade agreements, and currency swap arrangements. But guess what? Argentina's move towards BRICS transcends mere economic survival. It is fundamentally about asserting national sovereignty. They aspire to break free from the perceived grip of the US dollar and the International Monetary Fund. By joining BRICS, they are looking to tap into new global markets and fortify their role within the international economic system. This significant shift could potentially alter the dynamics of South American geopolitics permanently. You will not want to miss how this situation unfolds. Argentina's recurring economic crises, often involving painful negotiations with the IMF and dependence on the US dollar, have fueled a desire for greater economic autonomy. The appeal of BRICS lies in its potential to offer alternative sources of financing, investment, and trade partnerships, less encumbered by the policy conditionalities often associated with Western institutions. China's role is pivotal. It is already a major trading partner and investor in Argentina, particularly in agriculture and infrastructure. Deepening ties through BRICS could unlock further opportunities. Collaboration with Brazil, its large neighbor and fellow BRICS member, is also crucial for regional economic integration. Politically, aligning with BRICS allows Argentina to diversify its foreign relations and potentially gain more leverage in international forums, moving away from historical alignment with the U.S. This shift reflects a broader trend in Latin America, where countries are seeking to reduce dependence on Washington and explore relationships with other global power centers. The implications are significant, potentially impacting regional trade flows, investment patterns, and the overall geopolitical balance in South America. It signals Argentina's ambition to carve out a more independent path on the world stage, leveraging the opportunities presented by the rising influence of the BRICS bloc. Before we move forward, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are bringing you the most mind-blowing insights into global shifts, so do not miss out. Stick with us to keep up with the fast-paced world of international relations. Ready for the next shocker? Keep watching as we dive into Indonesia, a country that is rapidly making waves in the geopolitical shift toward BRICS. Number 6. Indonesia. Have you ever contemplated that Indonesia would opt for BRICS over its long-established connections with the West? Well, guess what? It is indeed happening, and the shift is nothing short of monumental. Indonesia, boasting a bustling economy and a strategic position in Southeast Asia, is prepared to move beyond its historical reliance on the U.S. and embrace the burgeoning influence of the BRICS nations. You won't believe it, but Indonesia, the largest economy in Southeast Asia, has been discreetly working behind the scenes to align itself more closely with China and Russia, two formidable BRICS members. As Indonesia's economic ties with Western nations have somewhat cooled, its partnerships with China in infrastructure development and trade have expanded significantly. But that is not the entire story. The country's involvement in Belt and Road Initiative projects and China's increasing influence in Indonesia's resource-rich sectors are generating waves throughout the region. And guess what? Indonesia is not merely following China's trajectory. It is actively pushing to enhance its own role within the BRICS framework. They are pursuing new opportunities in crucial sectors like energy, defense, and technology, positioning themselves as a key player in this emerging economic alliance. This strategic shift could completely alter the balance of power dynamics within Southeast Asia. You might be asking, what does this entail for U.S. influence in the region? Well, this move serves as a clear indication of Indonesia's aspiration for greater sovereignty amidst global economic pressures. Stick around as we explore how this seismic shift will impact global politics. Indonesia's strategic calculus is shaped by its desire to maintain autonomy in foreign policy, bebas aktif, or free and active, while maximizing economic benefits. While maintaining relations with the West, particularly the U.S., Indonesia sees BRICS as an important avenue for diversification. Growing trade and investment links with China are undeniable economic drivers. Participation in BRICS offers Indonesia a platform to engage with major non-Western powers and potentially influence global governance reforms. Furthermore, Indonesia seeks alternative development models and financing sources that may come with fewer political strings attached compared to Western aid or investment. The focus on energy, defense, and technology cooperation within BRICS aligns with Indonesia's national development priorities. Strengthening ties with Russia in defense or with India in technology could provide valuable capabilities. This move is also influenced by regional dynamics, as Indonesia navigates its relationship with ASEAN members and the broader geopolitical competition between the U.S. and China in the Indo-Pacific. By engaging with BRICS, Indonesia aims to hedge its bets and enhance its strategic flexibility. The implications for the U.S. involve navigating a more complex relationship with a key Southeast Asian partner that is increasingly looking beyond traditional alliances. It highlights the growing appeal of multipolar frameworks for nations seeking to balance their relationships in an evolving global landscape. Number 5. Egypt. Hold up. Did you ever consider that Egypt, with its extensive history of connections to the U.S. and the West, could potentially abandon the U.S. in favor of BRICS? Well, you won't believe this, but it is indeed materializing in 2025. Egypt, strategically positioned at the nexus of Africa and the Middle East, has been gradually turning away from traditional Western alliances and is now gravitating towards the BRICS bloc. But why this shift? Egypt's economy has faced extreme pressure in recent years, grappling with soaring debt levels, high inflation, and a significant energy crisis. To navigate these formidable challenges, Egypt has started looking towards China, Russia, and other BRICS nations for crucial support. These countries are not only providing financial assistance, but also offering strategic military cooperation, both of which have become increasingly appealing to Egypt's leadership. And guess what? Egypt is also keen on diversifying its international partnerships beyond the Western sphere, focusing on boosting trade relations with BRICS member nations. They have been actively pursuing infrastructure development projects in collaboration with China, alongside securing energy deals with Russia, making it evident that BRICS presents a more secure and stable pathway forward. But what does this imply for U.S. influence within the region? You will be shocked to find out how this geopolitical shift will play out, and what consequences it holds for the future dynamics of the Middle East and Africa. Stay tuned as we delve into Egypt's new strategic direction. Egypt's decision is driven by severe economic difficulties, including a foreign currency shortage and high debt burdens, which have necessitated seeking financial support beyond traditional partners like the IMF and the U.S. The BRICS New Development Bank offers an alternative source of funding, potentially with less stringent conditions. Economically, enhanced trade with populous BRICS nations like China and India presents significant growth opportunities. Russia has become an important partner in energy, particularly in the development of nuclear power plants, and also provides military equipment. Geopolitically, aligning with BRICS allows Egypt to balance its long-standing relationship with the U.S. with ties to other major global players, enhancing its strategic autonomy. This move reflects a desire to reduce dependency on Washington, especially given occasional friction over human rights issues and political reforms. Egypt's strategic location controlling the Suez Canal makes its alignment choices particularly significant for global trade and regional stability. Its pivot towards BRICS could influence other countries in North Africa and the Middle East, further contributing to the shifting global power balance. This transition underscores the complex interplay of economic necessity and geopolitical maneuvering, driving foreign policy decisions in the contemporary international system. Ready for another mind-blowing update? Stay tuned as we break down the latest on Algeria and its dramatic shift toward BRICS. You won't believe the impact this will have on the North African region. Number 4. Algeria. Imagine a nation, long considered a strategic associate of the West, abruptly pivoting away from decades of established partnerships. That is precisely the scenario unfolding with Algeria in 2025. You won't believe this, but Algeria, one of the most resource-abundant nations in Africa, is redirecting its focus towards BRICS, leaving the U.S. and Europe behind in a startling turn of events. You would be shocked to learn that Algeria, once heavily reliant on Western trade and military collaborations, is now actively seeking to enhance its ties with China and Russia. But guess what? Algeria's government has been discreetly deepening its connections with the BRICS nations, exploring opportunities in infrastructure projects, energy trade, and defense cooperation. Over recent years, China has emerged as a major player in Algeria's energy sector, assisting in the development of crucial oil and gas resources, while Russia has been providing arms and military support. But it is not solely about economics and defense. Algeria has long grappled with political instability and internal divisions, and this shift towards BRICS provides an escape route from the increasing pressure exerted by the West. By aligning with BRICS, Algeria can secure a stronger position in the global political arena. Russia's influence in the Mediterranean, combined with China's vast economic resources, makes BRICS an attractive alternative to the traditional Western influence that has shaped Algeria's foreign policy for decades. And guess what? This strategic shift will also impact the global oil market. Algeria, as one of the leading oil producers in Africa, will now be aligning itself with nations like Russia and Brazil, potentially shifting the balance of power in global energy production. For years, the U.S. was a key player in Algeria's oil sector, but with the new BRICS alliance, this relationship might diminish over time. As Algeria strengthens its relationship with BRICS, it could eventually challenge Western dominance in the global energy market conversation. Algeria's membership in BRICS would also pave the way for more trade deals with countries outside the West, offering access to new markets, enhanced investment opportunities, and greater economic stability. As the world continues its dynamic shifts, Algeria's entry into the BRICS alliance will undoubtedly have profound effects on geopolitics, and you will not want to miss observing how it all unfolds. Will Algeria's bold maneuver alter the future trajectory of African politics? Stay tuned, because events are only just beginning to gain momentum. Algeria's motivations are multifaceted, blending economic aspirations with geopolitical strategy. Rich in natural gas, Algeria seeks to leverage its resources through diversified partnerships. Frustration with perceived Western interference in domestic affairs and historical ties dating back to its independence struggle contribute to its leaning towards non-Western blocs. BRICS offers a platform for South-South cooperation and a potential buffer against Western pressures regarding political reforms or economic policies. Increased investment from China in infrastructure and energy aligns with Algeria's development goals. Military cooperation with Russia remains significant. Joining BRICS could enhance Algeria's diplomatic standing and provide greater leverage in negotiations with European energy consumers. This pivot, however, is complex, requiring balancing existing ties with Europe, especially France and Italy, with new commitments to BRICS members. The move reflects Algeria's ambition to play a more assertive role regionally and internationally, capitalizing on the evolving multipolar world order. Number 3. Nigeria. Now let us redirect our focus to Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation and largest economy. You won't believe the developments unfolding in the political and economic landscape of this powerhouse by 2025. Nigeria, once deeply intertwined with the U.S. and the West, is now setting its sights on BRICS, a shift that could fundamentally reshape the balance of power in West Africa and potentially beyond. But guess what? Nigeria has been progressively distancing itself from its reliance on the West, turning instead towards China, Russia, and other BRICS nations. Over the past few years, the country has been cultivating closer ties with China, finalizing major infrastructure agreements under China's Belt and Road Initiative. But that is merely the start. With Russia offering military support and China amplifying its trade and investments in critical sectors like oil and gas, Nigeria is strategically positioning itself for a more prominent role in the global economy. You would be shocked to discover that Nigeria's decision to move closer to BRICS isn't solely driven by economics. It is also about strategic positioning. In recent years, Nigeria's government has encountered significant pressure from the West concerning issues such as human rights abuses and corruption. This pressure has fostered growing dissatisfaction with Western influence. By joining BRICS, Nigeria is not only seeking greater economic opportunities, but is also distancing itself from the West's political scrutiny. And guess what? Nigeria's potential membership in BRICS could redefine the African continent's relationship with global powers. As Africa's largest oil exporter, Nigeria's resources are increasingly sought after by BRICS nations. China is already a dominant player in Nigeria's oil sector, and with Russia eyeing greater access to Africa's natural resources, BRICS emerges as an appealing platform for Nigeria to negotiate more favorable trade terms. This new alignment could also bring Nigeria closer to India, another emerging BRICS member, generating opportunities for collaboration in technology, agriculture, and energy sectors. The impact of Nigeria's move towards BRICS will resonate far beyond its borders, possibly signaling a shift in African geopolitics that could challenge the traditional dominance of Western powers on the continent. But you might be wondering, could Nigeria's alliance with BRICS signify the beginning of a larger trend in Africa, with other nations following suit? The consequences of this shift could be far-reaching, affecting everything from energy markets to military alliances. Before we move forward, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. We are diving deep into global shifts, and you will not want to miss out on the latest insights. Stick with us for more jaw-dropping stories that are shaping the world. Stay tuned as we look at Bangladesh's surprising decision to lean towards BRICS and the massive consequences it could have for global politics. You will not believe the direction this fast-growing nation is taking. Stay tuned. Number 2. Bangladesh. Let us discuss Bangladesh, a nation you might not typically expect to be creating significant waves in the global political sphere. But here we are. In 2025, Bangladesh is undergoing a rapid realignment of its international alliances, and you won't believe the direction it is heading. Once considered a traditional ally of Western nations, Bangladesh is now aligning itself firmly with BRICS. and the motivations behind this move are nothing less than shocking. You might be thinking, why would a country like Bangladesh, with its strong ties to Western trade and aid, suddenly change course? But guess what? Bangladesh's economic expansion over the last decade has been truly remarkable. With flourishing textile exports and a swiftly growing economy, Bangladesh is now seeking to broaden its influence beyond the Western sphere. China has been significantly increasing its investments in Bangladesh, particularly in crucial infrastructure projects under its Belt and Road Initiative. And you know what that entails? This represents Bangladesh's strategy to secure access to more diverse global markets, and BRICS offers precisely that opportunity. You would be shocked to learn that the government of Bangladesh is looking to enhance its strategic partnerships with Russia and China for key infrastructure developments like roads, ports, and energy plants. In reality, Bangladesh's decision to join BRICS will propel it onto a fast track towards securing better trade agreements and attracting more infrastructure investments. But it is not solely about the financial aspects. It is also about positioning itself as a major player in South Asia and asserting itself against the overwhelming influence of Western powers. And here is something you probably did not anticipate. Bangladesh is already experiencing the positive outcomes of this shift. With China's expanding economic influence in the region, Bangladesh is now able to circumvent some of the diplomatic pressures it previously faced from Western nations regarding human rights and labor laws. By joining BRICS, Bangladesh is signaling its intent to strengthen economic ties with emerging global powers, thereby reducing its reliance on the West. This shift in alliances will undoubtedly impact the global political and economic landscape. As Bangladesh moves closer to BRICS, it is making bold strides on the global stage. With its growing economic clout and strategic geographic location, Bangladesh is establishing itself as a crucial hub in South Asia. This move towards BRICS reflects a calculated decision to diversify its partnerships and secure its future in an increasingly multipolar world, challenging traditional power structures and forging new paths for development and influence. Number 1. South Korea. Now let us examine South Korea, a nation renowned for its rapid technological progress, robust economy, and historically close ties to the United States. But in 2025, South Korea is making a surprising strategic shift. The country is now setting its sights on BRICS, and you will not believe the reasons why. You would be shocked to learn that South Korea, a country that has been a staunch ally of the US for decades, is now seeking to strengthen its relationships with BRICS nations, including major players like China and India. And the motivations behind this pivot extend beyond simple trade considerations. Firstly, South Korea has been facing mounting pressure from the US regarding issues such as trade imbalances and its reliance on Chinese manufacturing. With the US adopting a more protectionist stance in recent years, South Korea is searching for new avenues to secure its position on the global stage. Joining BRICS offers South Korea increased leverage, enabling it to diversify its trade partners and buffer against escalating tensions with the US. And guess what? South Korea's membership in BRICS would also grant it access to the vast markets of China and India, two of the fastest-growing economies globally. These markets present South Korea with fresh opportunities for its key industries, particularly technology and automobiles. With China's increasing demand for high-tech goods and India's expanding middle class, South Korea perceives an opportunity to secure its economic future within these dynamic markets. But wait. There is more. You might not realize it, but South Korea is also increasingly seeking an alternative to its dependence on US military support. By aligning with BRICS, South Korea could potentially gain greater autonomy in its defense policy decisions and become more independent in its geopolitical maneuvering. The growing influence of Russia and China in the Asia-Pacific region could offer South Korea new military alliances and strategic advantages. This move toward BRICS is fundamentally shaking up the established power structures in East Asia. South Korea's strengthening ties with China and Russia could potentially alter the regional balance of power, and it is a development you will definitely want to keep an eye on. BRICS is no longer just an association of emerging economies. It represents a formidable force to be reckoned with on the global stage. If you found these insights shocking and thought-provoking, do not forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button. We will keep bringing you the latest and most important updates on global politics and power shifts. Thanks for watching.